sometimes they just don't report them right away, and that's the only downside I found on a lot of these reports. But yeah, I've got a couple of reports like this. There's one of them right here. I can tell you right now.
No, why don't you give us the one, James?
Yeah, I'll give you one real quick here. Let's see, this one here. Okay, here we go. This happened about a year ago. I was going to work alone. It was 4 a.m. in the morning, and no one was in the parking lot but me. So I'm about to get out of my car to go into the building. But first, I bend down to get my cell phone charger. When I look back up, a teen girl is on my driver's side window, and a small boy is on the passenger side. The girl is wearing a tank top and has really pale skin and stringy blonde hair. The little boy had his hair shaved off, and she said, "Excuse me, sir, but we need a ride down the block to my mom's house. If we walk, she'll be angry." Now, the boy looks emotionless and unblinking. I get the weird feeling in my stomach saying, "Don't do it." And I say, "I need to go to work, but here's some money for a cab." And she says, "We don't want your money, we want a ride." I blink and look down at the phone as it suddenly rang, then hung up. The kid's eyes were as black as night. My heart's pounding. I think, oh, crap. These kids are the ones people are talking about that kill people. So I say with some authority, "No, you take the money and go away." As I reach for someone's in my ashtray and look up at the kids again, and they're gone. Now it's a big parking lot. I'd had to have seen them, run away, run off. I even drive around the parking lot in the building, no kids. Even drove around the empty block they claimed to live on, and there was no one there. Needless to say, I waited until the sun came up to go back to work that day. And that was a report that came in, and that was about a year ago when that happened.
Well, that's a scary one.
Yeah.
I think that just goes along to where they end up not reporting it because they can't find anybody that really wants to listen to them about the story. Like I said, everything's compartmentalized, so everybody just wants to stick in their own little corner and do their own little thing and not, just go down that rabbit hole.
Well,
I think we have a severe lack of people that wants to go down a rabbit hole to try and figure out if these stories are true and try and figure out what's going on.
Well, could you imagine calling up the police and having a police get dispatched to your car, and you're sitting there saying, "I seen this girl wearing a tank top and her hair's stringy. The boy, has a shaved head. They want to ride down the street, just down the street. And I offered to give them money for a taxi cab, and they didn't want the money," which any kid would want the money, number one. Two is a ride down the street. It sounds like maybe it wasn't that far they had to go. They wanted to get into the car, maybe to take the guy's soul or take the guy's life, or maybe the guy would be vanished. Who knows? But that's what is scary on these stories about black-eyed children. Are they demons? Are they aliens? We don't know. But how many people maybe have opened the door, let them in, and poof, they're one of the 50, 60,000 people a year it go vanishing with no record.
Right. The whole missing 411 thing without it being in a national park.
Well, it's not all people are missing out of the national park, because when you look at the statistics, it's overall vanishing in our country. It's between 50 and 60,000 a year consistently, which the FBI says, no, they don't list it as a crime missing situation. It says people gone missing, but that's not just in our country, it's all around the world. That is scary. That's huge numbers.
I know a story of a guy who was partying with a bunch of friends, and they left the bar, and he went around back behind a bush or a dumpster or something to relieve himself, and poof, gone.
Well, there's been cases where
all the time.
Yeah, people have come out of the bar, they went missing, and then they find their body 2-3 days later. really weird situations, like in a reservoir or in a lake, or in where the retaining for like ponds, near commercial sites where they have the extra drainage. But the people would be, you ready for this? They would have their shoes off, they would have their clothes off, and then they find their body. That's really weird. And the people come out of the bar or come out with a group of people. They're totally normal. They're not suicidal. But then all of a sudden they find them in weird situations with their bodies.
Well, I mean, it's almost like that one guy. I forgot his name, but he was a professional skier, and I guess they were in upstate New York, and his buddies turned their head 1 second, turned their head the next second, and he was gone. And 2 weeks later, he's in California making a phone call from the phone that he just bought. And all he could remember was a truck driver dropping him off in California somewhere.
Now, isn't that strange? I mean, were they abducted and taken aboard a spacecraft and then dropped off, and they, dropped off across the country? It's a lot of weird situations going on.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of the black-eyed children problems is basically they just don't know who to talk to. There could be more stories coming out. There's probably tons of stories out there. They just don't really know who they can go talk to about it, and who's going to try and make them feel, well, I don't want to say better, because, I mean, if you come in contact with something like that, there's no amount of consoling or investigation you can do to make somebody feel better about going through something like that.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, people are coming. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange, because even of any type of cryptic report, we probably only hear a fraction of what people maybe see. A fraction, because let's face it, a lot of people aren't going to go sit there and tell their heart story of, well, hey, I saw a lizard man, or I saw a moth man, or I saw black-eyed children, and then have to describe it. Because you know what? Again, like I said earlier, if you sit there and say, I saw a UFO in the sky, people go, ooh, what did it look like? And you tell them, they go, oh, that's interesting. They believe you halfway. You sit there and say, well, hey, right. I was in the parking lot. It was pouring down rain, and these two little girls come out knocking on my side window of my car, and they're soaking wet, and they're begging to come in and want to ride. They want to be warm. But I look at their face, and their eyes are jet black. I mean, I wouldn't let them into my car. Would you, James?
No, I most certainly would not. Let me tell you, I've seen so much. I already know. I'm at the point in my life that I've seen evil things mimic children without black eyes. So right away, when I see a spirit or something mimicking a child, especially a little girl, my red flags pop up, like give it a wide berth, treat it like it's going to get you, because these things try to get you to drop your guard, try to lure you in. And then they pounce on you because, like we said earlier, they touch on your heart. Because, when you see a child and they're wanting a ride or they need help, most people are going to help them. However, if you're trying to buy them cab money and they don't want to do it, I know one thing. If I had to get home, and regardless if I had to walk or not, I want to get home, because the later it's going to be worse. And I know one thing. My parents wouldn't want me to be trying to pick up a ride with strangers. I'd get spanked worse.
Very true. I mean, yeah. I mean, these days, like, I can remember, like, now I'm a licensed concealed carry permit in Florida, and it pulls at your heartstrings. But a lot of the times, you just want to say, "I'm sorry. I will just feel bad about not helping you today." Well, you never know what's going to happen.
Could you,
be it paranormal or be it, some other nefarious,
could you imagine,
non-paranormal type?
You let them in the back of your car, and then you look in your mirror, and all of a sudden they're not little kids anymore. They're demons or something else. And then you know you got a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too late by then, let me tell you. Here's another little report I got, Gary and Kelly. Now, this one here, this person had been watching all kind of TV, about UFOs, and then there was a story about black-eyed kids that came on, and this is what they said. The black eye part of the story really gave me a shock. Now, we live in a neighborhood of a small family of houses in Arlington, Texas. Now, every year, we have from 40 to 60 trick-or-treaters at our door on Halloween night. Now, they usually consist of small children accompanied by adults, older children in groups, and teenagers who can't seem to give up their childhood fun. Sometimes the teens don't even bother to wear costumes. Now, on Halloween, this was on 2011, was a busy one on our street. At one point, I answered the doorbell to a large group of kids of various ages. Now, two of the tallest ones were dressed in rather flashy costumes. I remember, all the glitter and all that. Now, I don't remember if they were both girls or if they was a boy. I always pay attention and compliment the kids. Now, when I looked at their eyes of the teenagers, I was really taken aback. The entire visible eyeballs were a shiny, cool black. I told them they had great costumes, and I think I asked if those things hurt their eyes. I naturally assumed they were wearing, contact lenses covering their entire eye surface. I got no answer to my question, then they just sort of smiled. Maybe they just didn't want to converse with an elderly grandmother type. I don't even know if I got a thank you or candy or anything. I closed my doors before the massive kids left the porch. It really spooked her out, and they weren't, by her reports, they weren't wearing contact lenses because she had there was no mask or makeup on. She was looking right at them, and their eyes were all black, and it really shook her, this lady.
Well, see, that's the one thing. There is no reports of these black-eyed children actually, harming anybody. It's all been where, they scare their prey, as I might say it.
Well, point to, but also maybe the ones that something happens to, they don't come back to say, hey, something happened to me, God forbid.
I don't know. What's your thoughts, Kelly?
Well, I mean, I suppose that the fear factor just takes over everybody when this happens. So it's like, okay, well, sorry about your bad luck. I'm just going to go ahead and shut the door now. You have a good day. I mean, there's been plenty of times where we have two dogs. One's a little 25, 30-pound Jack Russell Beagle mix, so he's not that big. And then the other one is our big dog. She's a 90-pound American Bulldog Pit Bull Husky mix, and she will just absolutely stare at the door and start growling. And, I've heard the stories of your big dog, so, I mean, you can just imagine a little bit smaller of a dog sitting there just growling at the door. And I go check the door and nothing's there. I go out to the garage. I check outside the garage. Nothing's there. And she's just walking around the house. She's a very protective of my wife and I, especially her little brother. But, but with her doing that, I don't know if it's her getting alerted that's causing a sense of fear in me, but usually when I check the door, being left-handed, I can open the door with the right hand and have the pistol in the left hand, checking the doorway and out in front of the house and checking in the driveway and the garage and everything like that. I will literally walk, whenever she does that, I will walk the entire house and clear everything before I go back. So, I mean,
Okay.
When I
Kelly,
think when this happens, the
Kelly,
fear factor kicks in.
It
Yes.
does. We got to go on break. We're going to be off for about 8 minutes, so stay tuned. Don't hang up. Everybody will be back.